My name is Wilson Fay. I'm the Innovative Ventures Associate at WiSys, and I'll be moderating today's event. Say thank you very much for coming to the 2025 WiSys VentureHome Pitch Day as part of Forward Fest. I want to start off by thanking Forward Fest for having us a part of this, and then the WEDC for allowing us to have this event in our state, in their space. Go through the agenda real quick. We're going to start off with some opening remarks from Arjun and then Shayna. We'll do a quick overview of the WiSys VentureHome program, and then we'll go into what you're all here for, is to hear the fantastic pitches from these 6 founders. But to start, I'm going to call up the president of WiSys, Arjun Sangha, to say a few words.
Thanks, Wilson. Such a privilege to be here. Again, let me reiterate thank you to WEDC. Earlier this year, they named us as a key strategic partner, and we're just thrilled to be part of their family. Their strategy is amazing. So for us to be a part of that strategy is humbling as we help really make Wisconsin better for everyone and support all the great work that's going across Wisconsin. Before I say more, I wanted to play just a short video that will give you more, be more articulate than me in talking about what WiSys is and what we do.
Innovation is very much part of our history.
I'm not sure how much opportunity we would have to innovate if it wasn't for WiSys.
They will listen to your idea. They will try to help you bring that idea to fruition.
There's innovation anywhere and opportunities everywhere. We've seen that all throughout Wisconsin.
WARF established a subsidiary called WiSys Technology Foundation, and that's how it all started.
We wanted a comprehensive university to develop jobs and processes and new ideas that could be submitted as disclosure. That was the bedrock of WiSys' success. Programs that were initially developed for faculty members to say, hey, if you want to develop an idea, here's how you're going to go about it, and here's what you can expect.
When Arjun came on board, I think we started to have much more intentional collaborations.
Arjun drove up here through a blizzard, and it was way below zero.
This guy's coming from Texas. Is this guy going to even make it here? He made it.
When we started, we were helping maybe 50 to 100 people a year. Today, we are supporting over 1,400 people in a variety of different ways.
It's a remarkable team, and everybody seems just committed to helping us.
In the last 11 years, we've added so many more programs and opportunities to support innovators across Wisconsin.
Spark Symposium, it takes place on different campuses throughout the universities of Wisconsin.
WiSys is always looking at where the gaps are within the Wisconsin innovation ecosystem and trying to see if they can play a role in filling those gaps.
My students have benefited far beyond just those research dollars. It's hard to stress enough how doors open.
The future of innovation here is to spread it like the Wisconsin idea to the borders of the state.
VentureHome. It's an opportunity for the best of Bryce who maybe moved away from Wisconsin to realize that, hey, you can come back to Wisconsin, get your business started, tap into these resources, and have an impact for our communities, for the region, and the state as a whole.
We won an award from the National Science Foundation for $1 million to create forward agriculture. We're now competing for over $200 million.
One of the real successes of forward agriculture is bringing in people from all corners of the state and bring them all together for a goal for the entire state. Forward agriculture has the opportunity to really transform the agricultural system in our region.
WiSys is known globally as a leader within technology transfer with respect to smaller universities.
It's been recognized as a national model for how to do this. Very few other states have anything close to this at all.
The way that WiSys connects the universities to each other, to business, to industry, to communities, is exactly what is needed to push innovation forward.
Is there anything more important for a university to do than to unlock that passion, unlock those dreams? Building a stronger workforce and providing prosperity for the state, that's the beauty of WiSys.
We can bring this entire system of universities of Wisconsin together for the best interest of our state and our country and our world.
It's a very important organization, and I think it will emerge even more important in the next 25 years.
I think we all know here today, research makes a difference.
Here's to the next 25 years.
25 years.
25 years.
25 years of innovation.
Here's to the next 25 years of innovation.
Well, hopefully it gives you a little bit better idea of who we are, and VentureHome is really one of the cornerstones of the work we're doing to connect universities together with you and the communities. And as we said in the video, innovation anywhere, opportunities everywhere, and we really believe that, and I think the WEC is partners in that. It's that great ideas can come from anywhere. And Shayna, recently challenged all of us across Wisconsin to really be founder focused, and I think that, VentureHome really is that we're going to hear from several of them today, and I'm really excited about these great ideas and where you all can support the people who are talking and get them with their great ideas moving forward to make all of our lives better. So thank you for coming today and giving me a little moment to talk. I want to invite Shayna up to say a few words on behalf of WEC.
Hi everyone. Our mission here at the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is to build an economy for all, where every Wisconsinite can thrive. And I firmly believe that innovation is part of the way through and to that economy for all. As Arjun mentioned, I'm Shayna Hetzel. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Vice President of Entrepreneurship and Innovation here at WEC. I'm a proud Wisconsinite from Wisconsin Rapids, a double badger, and a proud member of the WiSys Forward Ed Leadership Council. We here at WEC have a lot of tools and resources you should know about if you don't already. Besides this beautiful office, so thanks for coming down here. We run the state's largest private investment partnership, the Wisconsin Investment Fund, $100 million public-private fund of funds that invest in Wisconsin-based early-stage startups. We've deployed more than $8 million across more than 14 deals, and we're just getting started. If you're raising, come work with us to get certified as a qualified new business venture or QBV so that your investors can get tax credits for that investment into your company, whether they're in-state or out-of-state investors. If you're needing capital for the prototype you're building or raising an in-between rounds, we run our own technology development fund, which writes checks $250,000 to $750,000 as part of a round that you're putting together. We also fund other venture debt partners and are happy to make referrals. If you walk down SPIR or STTR federal funding, we run a program with the Center for Technology Commercialization to provide a matching grant opportunity. And finally, we don't do this alone. We have a statewide network of resources, partners that deliver technical assistance, mentorship, coaching, pitch competitions, incubators like this one, accelerators, and so much more, which is why we are a very proud sponsor of Forward Fest. We think that being a founder-first, activity-based program makes Wisconsin stronger, and we think that ecosystems are the way that we're going to compete regionally. And I really enjoyed working with Arjun, Adira, and Wilson and the WiSys supporters. I cannot wait to see what you're all building and launching and hopefully choosing to grow right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Thank you. On Wisconsin, and back to you, Wilson.
Thanks, Shayna. Thanks, Arjun. Before we get into the pitches, I just want to expand a little bit upon VentureHome, which was kind of addressed in the video in both of their speeches, but VentureHome's mission is to facilitate scalable startups by providing local access to a statewide network of resources in the UW system regional campus communities. It acts as a network of startup hubs across the state where founders can come in and access everything a startup needs under one roof. It acts as a collaborative network model, both locally in each community, where it's WiSys, a local community partner that's located on Main Street to really spread the word and open this program up to anyone in the community, but then also a local UW university that provides the technical and scientific support as long as resources that are on their university. However, the network as a whole is collaborative as well. We try to share best practices with our partners across the state and leverage different resources that might not exist in the individual community. Our objectives are to support entrepreneurs throughout the state, build entrepreneurial culture and capacity in underserved regions across Wisconsin, commercialize UW technologies through startups, and then bolster partnerships for a robust and sustainable ecosystem across Wisconsin. This is our current map of our network across the state. We actively have 9 communities connected, and we have some new ones in the pipeline that will be having activities coming hopefully later this fall and into the spring semester next year. And we're always looking to expand our support across the state. To address some of the highlights, as I mentioned, we currently have 9 communities connected across the state. It's jumping ahead on me. Over $3 million in net impact. Over 80 startups have gone through our Level Up program, which I'll mention in a second. And then we've made over 1,000 referrals to different support organizations across Wisconsin and beyond. Jumping into our programs, I'm going to go really high level, but we also have brochures over there, and I would love to chat with any of you about this afterwards. But we have a startup navigator service, which really acts as your concierge to different resources across the state, whether that's scientific, technical, or legal, or really anything that a startup might need in Wisconsin. And then we're also launching an online platform in the coming months to help provide the digital framework that connects the physical VentureHome network. And then Level Up Launchpad, which we will be starting during Midwest Tech Month this year, hopefully during Midwest Tech Month, which is the last week of October, which is a 4-session intro to entrepreneurship for founders that are kind of looking to get their feet wet or turn a side hustle into a full-blown startup. And then the Level Up Pre-Seed Accelerator, which all the founders here went through, which is a 5-month action-oriented program, which focuses on taking startups from wherever they are and leveling them up. And then VentureHome Pitch Day, which you are all actively at right now, which is an opportunity for startups to pitch for an opportunity to secure seed capital. Going a little bit deeper into the Level Up Accelerator, it really has 4 pillars that it focuses on. How do you develop a entrepreneurial mindset, how to think critically and learn when to pivot or to persevere. We really want to build a community of entrepreneurs. That's one of my favorite things I see in this program. Just earlier, I had Nick and Mahmood were over there talking about opportunities and how they could grow their business, and seeing these founders work together is always fantastic. Obviously, startup fundamentals wouldn't be an accelerator unless we're kind of running through the basics of how do you build a company, what are the X's and O's of running an organization. And then the art of communication, which you'll all see here today, because you can have a solid business, but if you can't communicate it to an audience, it'll be a much more difficult road. In addition to the programs, we also have a small pre-seed fund that was based off a grant from the WEDC. It's a $700,000 fund, and we can make investments anywhere from $250,000 to up to $100,000 in follow-up funding. And I'm excited to share today that WiSys, through our pre-seed fund, will be matching eligible investments resulting from today's fund up to $100,000. If you're interested in learning more, or if you or yourself are a founder who's interested in accessing these programs, I encourage you to sign up for our email list or come and find me later, really during the whole week, because I'll be at a lot of different events this week, but I'm happy to chat more. Then lastly, before we jump into our first pitch, I want to do a big thank you to our statewide partners, which include the WEDC, universities of Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Technology Council, Starting Block Madison, the UW-Madison's Law School, Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic, the Winnow Fund, WARF, Ford Biolabs, and UWM Research Foundation. Now that we've gone through that, it's finally time for pitches, and I want to call up our first founder, Mahmoud Larordi, who went through the VentureHome Player Level Up cohort in 2024, and he is the founder of Spatium, and he's going to discuss his platform that is enabling unified visibility across industries where safety and efficacy are essential. All right, Mahmoud, come on up. Before we do that, we will have time for questions after each pitch, and that individual, Ben Bremer over there, will be walking around with a mic if you have questions, so please raise your hand. Now we take that.
Imagine a plant manager is looking to monitor a factory floor. She's looking at 4 different cameras and trying to stitch them together to understand. She sees one slip and fall in one screen, in one monitor. She sees the car in one screen and then slip and fall in another one. So it is difficult for her to mentally connect all this fragmented pieces of information and create a holistic understanding about what's happening there. So this is where Spatium comes in. In Spatium, we utilize AI and spatial computing to connect all this fragmented pieces of information and create the digital twins of physical space. Basically, we harness 2D video data to produce spatial intelligence and generate and scale digital twins of physical spaces. I am Mahmoud Larordi, founder and CEO of Spatium. My 25 years of experience in AI, including my bachelor's, master, and PhD, have been dedicated in developing AI agents to understand and model reality. Our CTO, Ahmed Kamal Madani, he's an expert in cloud architecture. He hosts our AI models on Google Cloud Platform, and he wants to be sure that our proprietary spatial algorithms is running securely in an efficient manner and in a scalable manner in our cloud platform. Brooke Hatfield is a University of Wisconsin graduate. She's a unique talent in relationship marketing, and she's our marketing and communication lead. We have prepared a short demo for you, showcase our technology in action. At here you see 6 windows, 4 stream videos coming from 4 surveillance cameras. The second shows the metaverse of that space. This is a manufacturing setting as we see it here. You see the gallery and profile for each individual in the 3rd window, and you see the heat map for foot traffic, and then immediate responses for incidents like intrusion and wet floor. Due to lack of spatial understanding and spatial intelligence, businesses don't have a comprehensive understanding about the dynamics of humans and non-human objects in the context of physical space. Digital twin technology can solve this problem. Basically, single source of truth, basically physical metaverse works as a single source of truth that makes it possible for businesses to have a smarter spatial understanding and makes it possible to have a machine-to-machine communication and for immediate instant response. So we have exemplified some of these applications that here included but not limited to wet floor detection, race hand detection, detection of the slip and falls, generating heat map, generating the space of ensuring that space efficiency is there by creating the heat map of foot traffic and object detection for the smooth checkout process. Global digital twin market is at $15 billion. Our target vertical, manufacturing, has a significant part of this market, $12 billion. We are initially targeting manufacturing in the Midwest, where we see $720 million market opportunity. Our business model is simple. We are charging $10 per camera per month. So for a factory with 100 cameras, it would cost them $1,000 per month. Basically, we add values more than that. The cost is just a fraction of a single employee, where we can add the productivity, increase the productivity of several employees. While companies like NVIDIA and Siemens provide a digital twin platform, our key differentiators are focused on affordability and easy integration. We try to design our system in a way that's easy to plug into the existing infrastructure and make it possible to basically reduce the inefficiency and increase the efficiency of workflow. So in just a few months, we have achieved significant traction. We have raised $50K in pre-seed funding from WiSys. We have received $25K cloud credit from Google Cloud Program. We have been accepted in NVIDIA Inception Program. We have our MVP is ready, and we have deployed that in 4 pilot customer sites to understand their workflow and define a proper KPI and estimate a clear ROI. We are seeking for $300K. This fund will be used for acquiring 10 paying customers and validate 30 pilot customers and trying to understand their needs. And then I think this 10 paying customers and 30 pilot customers will position us to secure $1 million in Series A funding. And hopefully we will be able to receive NSF SBIR grants to bring additional funding for our venture. So we will allocate this $300K for product development, $200K, $50K for customer development, and $50K for operational costs. At the end, I would like to say thank you to VentureHome for giving us this incredible opportunity, and thank you all for your time and attention.
Any questions from the audience?
I have a question. How do you think about, I think a lot of your pitch, which I think is great, is about proactive risk management. How have you thought about like the legal or insurance components of your product taking that anti-risk point of view without being held liable for things that happen when the cameras don't exist?
You mean the privacy of customers who exist in the physical space? Or
No, so like if you're monitoring the manufacturing floor and your cameras miss something that is going to get turned on, how do you protect yourself against that risk?
yes, it is a very important risk. We try to make sure that surveillance cameras can see everywhere, and there is no blind area, because if there's a blind area, it may increase that risk. And then making sure that FPS frame per second for cameras is high, and we can capture details there. And then we have used Google Cloud Platform. We host our AI model there. It's a strong and heavy AI model, tries to capture more details. So it's a valid risk, and I think with the power of AI and more reliable AI, we can tackle that problem and de-risk that risk.
I'm very nice job on the pitch. Congratulations on your 4 pilot customers. Can you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned looking at KPIs and ROI with those customers, so can you give us a little more insight around how your customers are going to define success for those pilots?
Yes. So when we deployed in the first place, it was a beauty salon, and they had just one surveillance camera. So what we learned that our system, Spatium technology, acts like a sensor, a simple sensor there. So the ROI basically was like a simple sensor. When we deployed this in a Luminous Cafe, the cafe in the Southland Mall in Minneapolis, it worked like a smart sensor. So they had a sensor there, but it didn't have they didn't have a chance to count the people. It didn't distinguish people exiting the physical space or entering. It was just dumb sensor. So our technology was able to detect when people exiting or entering the physical space. So the ROI in that case was like acting as a smart sensor. When we increase the number of surveillance cameras, the value that we can add to business workflow grows exponentially because it can capture more dynamics in the physical space. And when we deployed that in Academa, it's a warehouse setting in Minneapolis, it worked like a full-time employee. So the full-time employee is costing around $50,000 per year, and our technology costs $1,000 per year, $10,000 per year, and that's a kind of very significant ROI here. So my short answer is this: when you have more cameras, this technology can add more values there. For instance, for casinos, I think casinos are like a heaven for our product because of the high number of cameras.
Thank you, Mahmoud. Alrighty, our next presenter is Donnell Kelly, who was in the 2025 Level Up cohort in VentureHome Eau Claire, and she's going to be talking about her business, Military to Civilian Mastery. A round of applause for Donnell.
Do I just expand it?
What? Oh, just go next.
Smooth. Okay, thank you. I'm going to set a timer so I don't forget it. Veterans lose everything they have ever known within 24 hours of civilian life. I'm Donnell Kelly, and this is Military to Civilian Mastery, a groundbreaking membership model for veterans looking to rediscover purpose, identity, and community. Every year, over 200,000 service members exit the military, and over 80% feel lost, and they've lost a sense of belonging and a sense of themselves. And getting a job doesn't really fill that gap. The problem is what I call the civilian stability cycle. They went from managing multi-million-dollar projects to working a 9 to 5. And the veterans I talk to don't want to be stuck in this cycle for the next 10 years. Introducing Military to Civilian Mastery. This is all grounded in our proprietary neuroscience-based frameworks. From the moment they say yes, they are guided through an automated VIP welcome onboarding experience followed by a live orientation. We're talking weekly deep dive calls, social connects, a 24/7 community space, and a personalized AI bot that they can chat to in real time before they bring their ideas to the group. Additionally, it'll hyperlink personalized recommendations from our vault, so they don't have to manually search through our growing list of trainings, resources, and guides. This is a cancel anytime monthly membership with with a profit margin of 90%, high LTV, low CAC. We have strong retention potential, and as you can see, we break even at just 50 members. We're starting with 75% annual retention in year one, bumping up to 85 plus after we optimize. And as I discussed, we're going to have weekly meetings, personalized AI tools, and then, oh yes, gamification, because once a leader, always a leader. That's like my favorite part. So our future PACE TAM is adjacent life transition markets. For example, grief, neurodivergence, any sort of life pivot. That totals over $523 billion per year. However, our immediate TAM is the 5.3 million post 9/11 veterans. Our SAM is the personal growth focus in the digital community, so that's a $2.4 billion opportunity, and our serviceable market is $840 million based on the 910,000 veterans that are likely to join a digital membership. Here's the progress. Research to MVP, our first 3 test clients, 35,000 reached to date on LinkedIn in 2025 with minimal LinkedIn activity, and that alone, based on standard conversion rates, proves our model's profitability potential. And then as you can see, we have the next steps lined up as well. So year one, we're using AI automation for member onboarding, community engagement, and retention tracking. It can literally tell you when a member stops dropping off an engagement, automatically reach out to them, alert me at the same time, and then I can personally follow up. On the growth side, we're going to be expanding our funnels from an ebook to live challenges, guest trainings, and a lot more fun free offers. We have a clear improvement strategy for our go-to-market. So basically, LinkedIn partners with the Department of Defense's TAP program, which means all veterans are put on LinkedIn as they're transitioning out of the military. Once they're on LinkedIn, they get the job, they get stuck in the civilian stability cycle. So they're drawn to my content, but they don't want anyone to know about it. So I send them to my YouTube channel for longer form trust building content. Once they trust me, they click the link in the description, download my ebook, and now I have their emails. I nurture them over email and I invite them into the community. This is really important right now because the VA focuses on crisis care, and with the recent budget cuts, they don't have the resources they need to help mentally stable veterans explore personal growth. That's like a luxury to them, right? Combine that with the skyrocketing phone app use and membership subscriptions, and this is a no-brainer. As I mentioned, MCM provides a gap for veterans. Not crisis, not career, not generic expensive, and not Facebook or LinkedIn groups. I had everything as a shipboard firefighter. Mission, accountability, friends, structure. 24 hours later, I had nothing. So I went to college, and I got a degree, and I got a job. And then my mental health exploded. I'm talking mattress on the floor, undiagnosed seizures that I didn't even know I had until I collapsed one day in the grocery store. It wasn't until years later, when I stumbled into entrepreneurship, that I really realized something really important. Success without identity is hollow. So I took everything. I took my education and my pain and my entrepreneurship experiences and I poured it into MCM. So I bring my background, my story, my 6+ years in the digital entrepreneurship space helping 6- to 7-figure businesses. And I want to tell you this, we're building this as a lean AI first company. High margins, low cost, and the ability to scale efficiently. Next steps, I'm hiring an integrator, a podcast production team, and the latest software to stay ahead of the curve. Advisors help me fill in blind spots, both in ideation and in changing veterans' lives through resources. So I'm seeding $150,000 to help me break even at just 50 members. Anticipated revenue, $30,000, which then jumps up to $300,000 in year 2. Here are 2 of my one-on-one veteran clients after one 90-minute session and one follow-up. And to be clear, MCM is future-focused, not on healing past trauma, so that's what sets us apart from therapy. Now I know you're all eager to do this, all over the place, but I want to stop and thank my future Optimize Better podcast for sponsoring this presentation. Yes. This vision, this dream isn't about me. It's coming through me, just like any visionary that has ever made an impact on society. Okay, I'm not just building a business. We're building a path back to purpose. We're building a veteran legacy. And I would be honored to have you on board for this journey. Thank you.
Any audience questions?
Thank you. That was an excellent representation of exactly what I would visualize.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm also a fan.
Thank you.
So you're on the right track. Keep going.
Thank you.
Hey, great presentation. Can you tell me a little bit about what's the biggest barrier to getting one of the veterans to sign up for your program?
Trying to go too fast. So I use the customer level of awareness here. So as you can see, my target market, literally, I'm like ready for this. So the DoD gives them security and stability, right? The civilian stability cycle is where they start to notice a problem. They start to feel disconnected inside, but they don't know why. They think they should be happy because they're finally free and they have a job. So they go to my podcast, and that's where I have to nurture them. That's the tough part. I can't go on LinkedIn and say, you're in the civilian stability cycle and you need help. You need to find your full potential. They're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. I need to draw them in, right? And that's where the funnel comes in. So they go to the podcast, and now they're listening. Nobody knows, but they're listening, they're absorbing the content, and eventually one day they say, enough is enough. Sometimes you call it a midlife crisis. I'm calling it this. And you click the link in the description, and then you're like, okay, I kind of trust her. You take some action based on my book, and then if you're like, okay, I'm ready for more, then you join the community. So I have to be gradual with it. I need a runway, and I need to start tracking that cycle from LinkedIn post to joining the community. So that's going to be the trickiest part, is just knowing those numbers, and then it's just rinse and repeat.
Awesome. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
All right, our next presenter is Arul Jayapal, who is in the VentureHome Green Bay Level Up cohort for 2025 this previous year, and he's going to be talking about EQRx. Take it away.
Everyone's going to be on the AI. Just before I get started, it's a joke that Nick would understand me. I was at the WiSys conference, and the only business that was pitching over there that was not AI was hot sauce. There were 30 pitches, 29 AI and 1 hot sauce. So. I'm Arul Jayapal. I'm the founder and CEO of EQRx AI, the most qualified interns for your factories. Me and my team, my co-founder is not here today. We are trying to solve the problem of underutilized capacity in factories. How do you improve the productivity of the manufacturing shop floor, especially for small and medium enterprises? So one thing, large companies are twice as productive as the small and medium enterprises, especially in the manufacturing landscape, even when all things are equal with respect to resources, with respect to labor and everything. So that's a given, and that we also validated that statement. But how are they so productive when all things are equal? Is it because they are intelligent? Is it because they got a degree from Harvard? No, it's not. None of that. It's because they're investing in technology. So they are able to produce 10 to 20% more, and also unlock underutilized or unused capacity because of their investments in technology. But isn't this skewed more towards the small businesses? How about skewed more towards the large businesses? What about the small businesses? Right? So the small businesses, it's a myth that they are not able to do this because they're caught in a situation of how do I grow? Do I invest more in technology and grow? Or I should grow big enough so that I can invest in technology? But this myth has been busted in Korea, where they are the leader in adoption for this type of technology in small and medium businesses today, where with their Department of Economics has done a study and realized that 26% or more is the amount of productivity that has been unlocked by small and medium enterprises by using technology in the production floor. But Korea's SMEs, are they smarter than the American SMEs? Why are they doing this, and is America lagging, and why are they lagging? It's not because of access to technology, it's because of low-tech equilibrium. So the American manufacturers are caught in a cycle of low wage and low tech equilibrium that they are trying to manage. That's where we come in. So we are not senators or congressmen to solve the low wage problem, but we can definitely solve the low technology equilibrium problem. But you don't have to take our word for it. So to validate this, we went on a journey of customer discovery over the last 6 weeks, where we started from the ground up. We were a part of a program called EQRx, which was the National Science Foundation funded program. And we spoke to a lot of folks in the industry, like Wisconsin Center for Manufacturing and Productivity, to NUMA, which is one of the largest organizations in the Midwest with 400 manufacturers. And we also partnered and spoke to Connected Systems Institute, which is in UW Milwaukee, who is enabling small and medium enterprises with tech adoption through training, but not with actual technology till date. And we went all the way from the shop floor to the top floor. We've basically followed the money on where they're losing money, who's responsible all the way up. Spoke to more than 50 customers, more than 100 people, and we realized that the key gaps that they are seeing is one is it's mindset and culture. They are data rich but information poor. They have the data, but they don't even know that they have the data. And they have not translated that into information. And they also think that we don't have the resources that a Fortune 500 company has to solve this problem. So they are approximately estimating that they need around 200 to 300,000 just to spend on resources and skill set to have the right people to do this. So that can be somebody who knows how to do data visualization, how to set up a new technology, or even to have a continuous improvement or lean manufacturing program. And the high cost of solutions, in their mind, the journey to find a solution itself is not cost effective. They're thinking of doing pilots, evaluating multiple technologies, but they have to take people away from the production line to do this, so they're reluctant to do this. So that's again, let's say, an unqualified value of around 40 to 50,000 spent in identifying the technology, and another 60,000 in just the technology itself, and of course the tech challenges. Even though the small and medium enterprises are reluctant, but they have been going on for a while, they have survived. So they have older machines that they're not able to connect and get data from. So as a whole, the gap is around $300,000 of initial investment and total cost of ownership, and a lack of know-how of how to do this. So me and my co-founder, who have been doing this for a while in my team, I'm doing this full time right now. My co-founder, in fact, is out there talking to Honda and Veolia as a part of his job. He's part-time with me right now. He has done this for 30 plus years on helping large manufacturers adopt these kind of programs. And one of my tech experts is in the trenches right now. He's in the shop floor working in these type of technologies and understanding how the operators think and what needs to be solved for. With all our combined brains and around 80 years of experience, combined and collaborative experience, EQRx AI is a product for manufacturers who are averse to cloud technology or who don't want to put their data in the cloud. It's a plug-and-play device that connects to your equipment, pulls all your data in, it creates a database, does predictive analytics to predict when your equipment may fail. It gives you the production metrics on, okay, you have a 5-minute downtime today, that may be a $20,000 revenue hit tomorrow, connecting the production metrics to your business KPIs, and it also helps you with guided maintenance, guiding your operators to do basic maintenance activities, and also your maintenance technicians to resolve the issues faster. The mean time to resolve is faster, and it also increases the mean time before failure because there is guided maintenance activities that the operators can perform. So, and the most important thing, even though there is a huge shortage of labor in Wisconsin, the common fear among the workforce is AI might replace them. This is AI working with them and not trying to replace them. That's one of the things that we want to do with the funding that we are looking for, to educate the market on the importance of having AI in the workplace as a complement and not as a substitute. So these are some screens. To run a demo would take 15-20 minutes. Just some screens of the pilots that we're doing. The most interesting use case that is being piloted right now, we're going to start piloting next week, is a specific chatbot like ChatGPT for maintenance technicians, where they are able to converse and understand what they need to do, and most important, what they should not do, and what are the safety precautions they need to take before every maintenance activity. That reduces frustration, reduces the number of calls they place to experts to do maintenance activities. From a traction standpoint, we have really good traction. So I have been dabbling on this for 2 years closely, but I realized I won't do this if I don't do this full time. So I quit my job, started doing this in February, built the prototype, and we had our first pilot deployed in July. That pilot is successful so far. It's collecting data, estimating the metrics, looking at potential failures in the equipment. That pilot is being expanded to the guided maintenance and predictive maintenance pilot from next month on. One of the largest health supplements manufacturers in the world. The second pilot we're kicking off next week is one of the largest pizza crust and frozen pizza manufacturers in the state of Wisconsin. They are also going to look at the predictive maintenance. Before the predictive maintenance journey, they're going to start with their true production metrics. We are in the process of co-innovating and starting a pilot with one of the largest counties in Wisconsin, helping them do guided maintenance using AI for the critical equipments around water treatment and wastewater management. We are also in discussions for a pilot in September, and also a couple of international pilots, one in Greece and one in India. That's the traction we have so far. It's a global market. There is need for this. Everybody is acknowledging it. They are starting pilots with us. The goal is to transition this quickly into revenue from these pilots to these customers by Q4, and then aggressively expand next year. The market opportunity is there. So it's a $1.5 billion serviceable addressable market. If you look at just United States, close to 300,000 manufacturing facilities, 60 to 65% of them are digital laggards. Even if you address only 5% of them, it's a massive market to address. And executives are, in a survey, are saying that yes, we want to invest in this. In fact, they are allocating around 30% of their budget into such technologies and improving manufacturing efficiency using AI. We are targeting process and batch manufacturing industries right now, which is food and beverages, and predominantly on dairy, because of course we are in Wisconsin, we cannot ignore the cheese and dairy over here. So water treatment and wastewater management, that is an underserved industry, because that predominantly falls under government utilities. People don't pay attention to that industry, but they are underserved because they have really old equipment and an aging workforce with a generational gap of people not getting into that industry. Chemical processing and chemical manufacturing, and finally, we are looking at enterprise partnerships with equipment sales folks to get into those industries. Our ask is for mentorship from industry experts, more collaboration with advisors, and a $200K investment. And we are exploring a SIBR grant, working on that, because we are targeting an industry that is very underserved, which is wastewater treatment and water treatment and wastewater management. The breakdown of this is 75% of this we are trying to invest back in product development in the form of having the right skilled resources in advanced AI technologies. We are trying to work with the University of UW-Madison and UW-Milwaukee for that. 10% into tech infrastructure, 5% into industry engagements, because we need to educate the industry. Another 5% into events, because we need to be out there to get more customers. Events are where these technicians make their buying decisions, not predominantly through LinkedIn or other digital forums. Another 5% into customer excellence, because we see that there will be initial hiccups for adoption, and we want to address that in the onset so that customer retentions become easier rather than becoming a challenge. If I had too many words per minute, I had 4 coffees this morning and I didn't
Time for one question, if anyone.
What's your pricing model?
The pricing model for small and medium enterprises is going to be ROI based on what problem they are trying to solve. But for the larger enterprises, it's going to be subscription based. It's per device and per line. That's going to be the pricing model. And it's going to be product based. Everything but the chatbot is going to be a single package. The chatbot is going to be a separate package.
Thank you, everyone. founder is another VentureHome Eau Claire alum from the 2021 Level Up, and it's Phil Wagner, who is going to be talking about Green Fleet and how you can get to travel around corridors and reduce emissions at the same time.
Thanks, Elizabeth. So I'm Bill Wildner, the founder of Green Fleet. My company focuses on solving airport transportation in long-distance scenarios, specifically with communities that are in an extended distance from a major airport, like in Eau Claire, which is almost an hour and a half or more in some scenarios away from Minneapolis Airport. So that really is the big problem that we're trying to solve. And what we found is actually what people wanted was they wanted to get picked up at home. And so what we started off with was our private car service. So we started off at the high end of the market in late 2020, of course, the best time to start a company during the pandemic. And it was great because it was me and my one car in my garage, and I got to, fail quickly and learn fast. And we figured out that that's what people wanted at the time. They wanted a private vehicle, give me a clean black SUV, and it was a no-wait service. So they told us when to show up, when we should be there. We're doing flight tracking, so it's the full service that if they get in early, or more likely they get in late, the car is going to be there with a professional driver. We moved down market in 2023 with our luxury shuttle service. I consider that an evolution of our private car service. So that service kind of combines a private car and a standard airport shuttle. It uses shared vehicles, scheduled departure times, and that's how we're able to lower the cost of that service. So you can see here a pretty nice trend line. The first 3 years of the business there was me doing this part-time, not really trying to grow the business, not telling anyone. In 2023, the second half, starting in July, mid to late July, was when we released that luxury shuttle service, so you can see the jump in revenue. 2024 was our first full year having our private car and our luxury shuttle. And then 2025 numbers are projected based on the first 6 months of this year. So you can see over time that we've grown pretty quickly. What we're doing has resonated with people because they found it just such to be a pain getting to and from the airport. So we do have some investors that have already been working with us. Wisconsin Credit Union, the Regional Business Fund are our primary investors. Other credit lines, we do have a silent partner, and as myself as an owner has contributed to the business as well. So our biggest competitive advantage is really twofold. We operate in markets that no one else is really competing directly with us, especially not with our model of using shared electric vehicles. And to that point, our operation and maintenance costs are much lower, about a quarter of the cost compared to a gas vehicle fleet. So we're able to really keep doing those miles, and the costs don't add up for us like other fleets do. This is again looking at our business model where we started off with the private car service, which is lower volume because there's only so many people that are willing to pay that high price. We moved down market to our luxury shuttle, which is more in line with Uber or Uber Black, that type of service. And the service that we're looking to launch is our Eco Shuttle. This is a high volume passenger service, and it actually is still a high margin service once we get to scale with it. So this is a little bit of a competitive breakdown versus Groom Transportation, if you're familiar with them. I call them the crowded shuttle vans. We're trying to do that, but the exact opposite way. So we're trying to beat them on price, so this would be a lower price service. Beat them on convenience, which would be locating it in downtowns, so bringing that focus back to the downtown area rather than say, come drive 15 minutes outside of town. And instead of cramming a bunch of seats in there, luxury seating with more space, fewer stops. So we're eliminating some of the stops that they would do in like a Baldwin or a Hudson where there's not that many people, but they still stop there. So we're really trying to do high convenience, low cost, more convenience, and luxury seating. This is the market potential for this service, and this data comes from the Chippewa Valley Airport. There's about 750,000 people that in the Chippewa Valley every year that fly out of that area. Of those, about 90% use the Minneapolis airport. It's about 660,000 people. And the proposed shuttle service that we're looking at could do about a quarter of that, or about 160,000 people in a year. So to get to those numbers, we're doing 20 round trips a day, 360 days a year. There'd be 11 seats per vehicle instead of 15, so that's where we're getting that extra space. And the revenue potential for this service is about $8 million in a year. And we're looking at a cost to run the service at about $1.2 million. So it could end up being a very high margin business. One of the most important things about our go-to-market strategy here is about $1 million of the upfront capital costs would be offset by an 80% federal grant and then a 20% local match through local transit agencies. And we're currently working with them to get this all set up to provide the funding, so we would not be paying that $1 million in capital costs. We would be running the service, so that's a huge benefit to us. Here, just wanted to mention the 1.2 million again. Our break even is a 15% ridership, which works out to about 1.7 people, and we're not chopping anyone up, so don't worry. But it's a pretty low ridership rate for us to get to that break even point, so that's why we're very confident that this would be a very profitable service. Our year one target ridership would be 33%, which would be about equivalent to 2.5 million. And this is putting it very simply, but Groom is the main competitor in this space. They are the biggest airport shuttle service in the US. And if we took their 56 markets that they operate in, said each of them is worth $5 million, even though we're estimating this market at $8 million, it's almost $300 million total. So that really could be our total addressable market. But then we go one step further and we have to get in on the AI fund as well. Self-driving vehicles have the potential to really cut our costs drastically. Of that 1.2 million to run this service, a little over half of that is payroll costs for drivers. So in the future, with the right vehicles, about half of those costs could go away. And here's just a little background on myself. I have a master's in environmental science and policy, did my thesis on energy use and carbon taxes, and my wife now is also involved in the business and is a nurse by trade, but she has a bachelor's degree from UW-Eau Claire. And one of my drivers now has moved from driver to a manager position, so we've been doing this for 5 years and we're starting year 6 here. So we've shown, I think, pretty great traction over that time period. Our ask is $300,000 to launch our Eco Shuttle, and just to show what that would get us, that would be 3 months of operation of the service with 0 revenue. So obviously we're not anticipating that, but that would be kind of the worst case if we wanted that, just to think about it that way. And the other thing that we were really looking for assistance with is scaling our operations, our personnel, marketing. This would be about 25 full-time people to run this service, so that's a big part, going from our small team now to a much bigger team. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Thanks. I'm curious about your personal model, because you have stated you have fewer passengers, maybe a slightly more upscale experience as a result of your pricing a little bit competitive.
Yeah, what we found is, and it kind of goes along with our evolution from our private car to our luxury shuttle to this lower market. We found that there are a lot of people that don't want what you're selling unless it's the cheapest thing, and that's really how we're going to get them in the door and convince them to go with us. It is a little strange to be the lowest cost and the somewhat luxury service as well, but you can see the numbers work even at that price level, so that's kind of the strategy we're taking.
Do you see eventually scale raising that price, or how do you think, and how do you think the customers would react?
Definitely could. I'd like to get more people in the door first, and worry about that later if we need to. But yeah, it's definitely a consideration. And I think maybe to note too, with our lower cost of operation too, we're able to have a better margin than our competitor as well. So that's another plus.
Okay, I just have a question. You mentioned that part of your scale plan is to take the 56 locations that Broom's already in and capture some of their market. Can you talk a little bit about how you see taking what you currently have, which is home field advantage in your current market? How do you get that same insight, and how do you choose where to scale next?
Very good question. I think the way I'm looking at it is we would really save a lot of that expansion, I think, for the self-driving future, when we don't have to worry about hiring 25 people in a certain market to get the service off the ground. It's really quite simple to get, I've got experience in doing a utility upgrade at a commercial building, and you can put solar power in to lower your costs even more. So I think that $300 million number with the 56 markets is really looking forward to say, okay, where are we going to be in 5, 10, 15 years? It's not, what are we going to do tomorrow?
So thanks, Bill.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, our next presenter is Isaac Lane, the founder of Scentinel, who is in the 2025 level up cohort in VentureHome Eau Claire. So, a round of applause for Isaac.
Hello everyone. Like Wilson said, my name is Isaac Lang, and I am the founder of Scentinel. So, let me jump to slide. Well, it's missing slide. Anyways, so the problem with footwear and odor is you put on your footwear, then bacteria immediately house inside your footwear. And then that can release odors, unwanted odors, and that can affect other environments. So then if you add moisture and things like that, it only amplifies the problem. So, your feet contain around 250,000 sweat glands, the highest concentration in location in the human body. It produces about half a pint of sweat a day, which is pretty disgusting. But then, there was also a study done in 2012 showing that roughly 36 million people over the age of 21 in the US alone suffer from this problem. And they try to find home remedies, creams, powders, and just nothing seems to work. So this is where Scentinel was then created, where it's an all-in-one device using a UV light to kill the bacteria at the source, use a scent to replenish the bad odors with good odors, and then also use heat to solidify the good scent within your footwear while also bringing out any additional bacteria that the UV light may not have hit the first time. And then this is what the end product we're kind of designing to look like. So the demo is pretty straightforward. You slide the Scentinel device within the shoe. Once you turn it on, the heat element will stay on for the entire duration that it is in your shoe. And then the UV light and then the scent dispenser will alternate back and forth until the user seems deemed fit of when the use is done for their shoe. So looking at the revenue model, everything you can see can be purchased online. And then talking about the scents, it could be a potential subscription. So once people find the scent that they prefer or scents, then they can move on to online and then just purchase it directly from there. As for parts, if someone breaks a part or a part breaks, things happen, they can buy the housing of the Scentinel or the UV light or the heat element individually, because too many things nowadays, if one little piece breaks, you have to buy the brand whole new thing, and it's a complete waste. So we're trying to make it where you can just replace the single part that is broken. So quickly looking at just the customer lifetime value, assuming a $50 initial cost for the customer, and then looking at if someone buys one scent cartridge once a month at $10 over 4 years, that's $480. And then assuming if someone breaks a part once a year for $15 a part over 4 years, that's $60, giving us a CLV value of $590. Going into the market, it's roughly a $15 billion global demand for shoe orders and hygiene solutions, with 450 million of that being for the consumers actively purchasing odor control products. And then for Scentinel is working with the $50 million serviceable attainable market. So using that, 50 estimated upfront cost, that's $1 million customers. Going into the market, we want to start targeting athletes first to get a good foundation, and that's going to target any skill level, any sport, any profession. And then once we have a good foundation, we're going to move to recreational, like ski resorts, bowling alleys, and that's going to help scale the business, because then you have high density footwear that's being rented out to a bunch of people, and it's also just a safety of people's peace of mind, knowing that whatever they're putting their foot in is clean and hygienic. So that's going to really help scale the business. And then adding other categories such as construction, factories, farmers. It's just going to help create more diversity that Scentinel can target, as well as military, diabetics, and then just general human climates around the world. So the competitive advantage of Scentinel is that basically taking all the strengths from all the competitors and combining it into one to address the problem, using the UV light, scent, heat, time efficiency to get the job done, as well as the lifespan of your footwear, because some ways to mitigate this issue, it takes away from the lifespan of your footwear, so we want to protect that as well. With competitors like scent balls, they just mask the scent, they don't really address the problem, and then foot powders, they just can gunk up your shoe and create a whole new problem at the end. So again, the competitive advantage is just combining all these strengths into one to create the Scentinel device. So traction and what's already taken place is in October of 2024, attending the Launchpad program, WiSys, that really helped iterate the problem of what Scentinel was trying to chase down. And then beginning of this year, joining the Pre-Seed Accelerator program, also with WiSys, help refining the business model, target audience, market strategy, kind of digging deeper into what it all is needed. And then during that same process, working with my alumni college, W. Platteville, working with the prototyping and kind of accelerating that process to get to those images that I was showing you for Scentinel. And then more recently, just launching the website for Scentinel so we can start collecting people that are interested in this. So then once we are ready to launch, then we can just immediately send it out to those people that are interested. So the game plan of what's to come and the goals that we have set is by October of this year, we'd like to have a finalized prototype of the one that I showed you in the images, and so far we're on track for that. By the end of this year, we would like to have collected at least 500 sign-ups on the wait list, and then moving on to the middle of next year, trying to establish manufacturers that we can expedite the problem and make it more efficient to create the Scentinel devices instead of manually do it with just a couple of people. And then by year 2027, we'd like to have sold at least 10 units of the Scentinel device to customers. So the team is myself, along with advisors like WiSys and UW Platteville. And then what we might start looking into is more for people for marketing, finding a manufacturer so we can start producing it at a higher rate once we have that finalized prototype. And then also just finding, a tailored mentor that has gone down the similar path that we are, so that we can kind of expedite and figure out the do's and don'ts to kind of help the whole process. So the ask is going to be, we're asking $100,000, and how that's going to be split out is we're thinking, or $50,000 for manufacturing, $30,000 for marketing, $15,000 for market readiness and retail entry prep, and then the remaining $5,000 can be contingency reserved to kind of fill in where it's needed. And that should kind of put us where we're at. And that is it.
Any questions for us?
Yeah, I have a question, sorry.
Yeah.
How long does the process take, and also what made you think of this idea?
Yeah, so the process is going to be, to meet the goal of the intended purpose, testing it on other prototypes, it took anywhere between 15 minutes. So that way you're not like having to baby it or has to sit overnight. But it's also dependent on if people do just want to like put it inside their footwear and leave it overnight, they most certainly can. And the reason why I came up with this is ever since I was little, I've been doing a lot of sports and a lot of activities, and I've had my parents a lot of complaints to me about soccer or golf. After the game, I had to bring grocery bags to tie my cleats in or footwear in, because it starts to, the problem with that is then it can start to create, you know, the smell in the house, vehicles, it can stain some material. So I have a lot of friends that deal with this problem too, and they said it would get in a heartbeat. So that's kind of where I came from.
Do you have any indication of your product roadmap, like what you want to build after this footwear solution?
Yeah, so it's interesting because every time I talk to people, they always give me another market that I've never thought about. So, so far, like I said, like we're kind of with the market. I think the athletics would be the best because that's something we're most familiar with. And then even with the recreational, like I talked about, it could be a completely different unit that's for higher quantity, like boot racks for skis and stuff like that. But like I said, we're going to try and hone on one so we don't spread ourselves too thin, and then go from there and then expand.
Awesome. Thanks, Isaac. Alrighty, our last pitch for the day is Nick Sonnentag with Sunnyday Technologies. He's from the VentureHome Oshkosh cohort of Level Up that happened this past year in 2025 or this current year. So give a round of applause for Nick Sonnentag.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to start by saying thanks to WiSys. None of this would have been possible. I've been in the industry for decades in research and development for big corporations doing lots of similar things. When it comes to doing it yourself, there's a whole lot of things that I still didn't know, and this was an incredible experience that I value a lot. So I just want to give my thanks to WiSys and everyone for supporting the program, because it's really been great for me. So to start out, there you go. I'm Nick Sonnentag, the founder of Sunnyday Technologies. We're turning cement into a precise, data-driven material for the next generation of construction. Concrete is the second most used material on Earth after water. Does anybody out here know the third? We're in Wisconsin, that's your hint. Beer. Thank you. All right, back to our regular programming. So with the amount of concrete that we make today, we're going to be building a new New York City every month for the next 40 years. That's an incredible amount of concrete. I founded Sunnyday Technologies to change that. We're going to cut structural waste by using advanced generative design. But first, we need to make the materials. So what's in concrete? It's mostly sand and rock from local areas. Even that has increased in cost by 40% since 2020. And then every mix varies. It's a natural material. So we have variability on regional and contractors causing unpredictable performance. That means our software can narrow the uncertainty by collecting additional data. Today, we have specifications that accommodate very large margins of error. Tomorrow, with the software, we can do predictive specification to allow data-driven design. We build more, we waste less. So before we go further, we'll say additive construction. This is what ASTM is calling this, the formal term used for 3D printing with concrete. It requires expertise in pumping, mix design, and concrete chemistry. And that's where we specialize. That chemistry is the key to printable structural concrete. And that is where ScenForge comes in. ScenForge is our AI-powered, patent-pending software that takes local material data and predicts performance before the first mix. We combine chemistry, physics, and machine learning to design optimized materials. Our users start with print-ready formulations instead of avoiding months of experimentation to create a new printable concrete. Our alpha pilot proved ScenForge works. It was completed a few weeks ago. And users are ready to buy. Our beta testing begins in a few weeks, and with early adopters in universities and additive construction companies. Sunnyday Technologies shared our custom formulated cement at the World of Concrete. That's the picture on the bottom. Actually, a picture on a big screen of our printer, printing the samples that we use there. And we also, that was with a company called Carbon Fiber Recycling. In January and in October, I'll be speaking at the ASTM International Conference on Advanced Manufacturing and how we can move forward faster by using predictive data for certification. So here's how we stand against the competition. Did anybody out there know that there's AI being used for concrete? It's being used for everything else. So of course, AI for concrete. Concrete.ai and AI Crete are in the US. Geotech in Canada, and there's a few others around the world, and they're decently funded, but they are all focused on ready mix. That's great technology, but it's designed for pourable concrete, not for something built in 3D. SemForge is the first to bring parametric material design to additive construction. So why do we win? There's 3 reasons. First, data and expertise. We merge chemistry, machine learning, and proprietary data sets with material science to provide foundational value to our customers. Number 2, cost efficiency. Stronger mixes with less cement, less additives is less cost. And finally, reliability. We can predict the failure before it happens. That saves times and certification costs. That's how SemForge is moving construction from guesswork to precision. So our go-to market is a phased approach. Software, SemForge, is our first to generate seed revenue starting in 2025. We then plan lab and open source printers in 2026. That's the majority of where we're looking to put our funding. By 2027, we'll incorporate full design for a design to delivery service. Then in 28 through 2030, we'll be looking at scaling for construction project certification. That also will be timed with the release of the ASTM specifications that are now in development, of which Sunnyday Technologies is a member of the ASTM committee. And finally, who am I? I'm Nick. I'm a material scientist. I have decades of research and development experience helping Fortune 500 companies from agriculture to aerospace. I take those new technologies from lab to production. I built SemForge after working with Oak Ridge National Lab, where I saw the challenge of making 3D printable concretes, both high performance and design flexible, was very difficult. Sunnyday Technologies is planning to stay lean using third-party support and industry advisors, and we will expand the team as we grow. Today, I'm looking for 2 things: partners ready to adopt additive construction, and investors with deep construction industry experience. We're planning to raise around $500,000 through a mix of equity and non-dilutive funding to build Wisconsin's first 3D concrete printing company. With the urgent needs in housing, data centers, I think agriculture might be out there as well, and infrastructure across the United States, the time is now. Let's build a brighter future together.
Any questions for them?
Help me understand an application that this can be used for. You said it's not competing with ready-to-pour concrete. So is this, I'm not familiar with 3D printed concrete. So is this really competing with like CMU block and masonry? Because it's not probably structural concrete or rebar and other materials that pass those kind of tests. But I know I'm getting a little too much of the weeds. But so help me understand that application.
Don't tempt me to get into the weeds, because we could be here for hours. The ASTM specs are dealing and doing those things with reinforcement without the rebar. The hardest thing for additive is really designing, right? We're not getting value from making it, we're getting value from the design. And so that is the intrinsic value. We're going to design things that have better flow. There's very good value probably in infrastructure, things like those big sewer pieces. The immediate value is replacing the cast pieces. Again, if you look out the windows, the big cast concrete pieces, not the ones that they have regular metal dies for, like those pipes, but they have unique pieces at the end. That's where they are currently using this technology to print the parts. Of course, there's housing as well, but there's a lot of other unique applications. What we're looking at is functional design. Not just building a house or building a structure, but a structure that does something. And when we include 2, 3, 4 things, including aesthetics that can count, that's where we begin to drive real value. I'll show some examples. Just the type of that we're using is called an LC3. It uses a calcined clay, otherwise known as kaolin, which is what we use to make porcelain. It's very widely available. As you can see, that's all that yellow area around. Just comparing the output. As far as what can be made, this is now the highest tower called Torre. It exists, and you can see from the scale here of the people and then the final tower. And this is interestingly enough, even though I have a fairly small printer, it's about 1 meter cubed or 1.4 feet, you can print all of these elements. They have rebar through the middle, and then once they're assembled, they pour concrete attached to the rebar and now they have a full-scale structure. So it's a good example of how we could use a smaller printer, like we're looking at doing open source with modular, adjacent to a build site and build very quickly. Some pictures of our open source. And finally, that's our software just running. It shows, you start by selecting properties, you jump down the menu on the bottom, select your materials. Up here, you say, okay, generate the mix. And then down the bottom is your analysis, where you can take it, look at the particle distribution, save it off. Great tool for universities to share the results.
Time for like a 30-second question, otherwise. Tell me more about this software. Is the software for internal use, or is this something you plan to sell in like a B2B manner?
So we're looking at, licensing this as software as a service, doing 3 levels, a light tier for beginners, like $10 a month, a pro tier for $100 a month for people that are going to be generating a lot and saving their own materials, and then an enterprise tier for large corporations that have large data sets that we can bring in their full data set, their customized piece. When we can combine not just materials, but adding the process, we improve the prediction capability.
Awesome, thank you, Nick. And, let's give one big round of applause for all of the founders who pitched. Before we wrap up, I want to give a big thank you to ForwardFest and the WEDC for having us a part of, one, this space, but also the whole week of events. Again, I'm going to encourage you all to join our email list. We'll be sharing this recording through our email list, so if you would like to view all the videos again, this is the best way to get it. Also encourage you to take some of the swag. We have quick one-pages with all the founders here, their contact information, more general brochures on VentureHome. I'm also happy to give my card. I brought a bunch. I'd also like to invite all of you to join us for the rest of ForwardFest. The next event is the ForwardFest Happy Hour Kickoff. If someone want to jump ahead on the at Delta Beer Lab, which is right down the street. Myself, some of the founders, and other members of WiSys will be there to mingle and answer any questions you might have, and hopefully I see more of you at some events this week. But thank you all for being here, and that's all, folks.